Hello. I have decided to share some of my theatre anecdotes. Whether you are yourself in the theatre or not, I think that these are things people often find interesting and illuminating. And when I thought about my stories over the years and the things I could share, what really came up for me was the realization that at least 50% of things that really stuck in my mind about my theatre experience are Me Too moments or involve Me Too moments. And I'm very grateful to the Me Too movement because it's made it a lot easier to talk about these things from an empowered position. It's something that so many of us just take for granted and don't even talk about among ourselves. I've always been very open with my friends and talked to my friends about things, but I've noticed that until this time, it was almost like a secret sometimes amongst women, where women didn't even share always with each other what was going on. And so I'm going to be telling you one today. I'm not going to be telling any very intense ones, but this relates to a show I was in at a pub theatre in Hampstead, and I was living in Highgate at the time, and I'd walk across the Heath to rehearse. I think I know the name of the pub theatre, but I can't quite remember it. So, like so many actors, we all, English actors anyway, tend to perform in tiny spaces, big spaces outside, like the whole range of performance. And this has really fed into me being a voice coach, because so much of it is about gauging your audience and your space. So we've all had these wildly different experiences. And I was doing a show with two producers who were also in it. One of them was the girlfriend of the director, so I think they had hired him to direct. And it was about mental illness, and it was all women in the cast. And the director also happened to own an antiquarian bookshop in Cecil Court, which is near Covent Garden. And now I'm questioning, this is the thing about being transatlantic, I'm saying, is it Cecil Court or is it Cecil Court? If anyone's watching this from the UK, please correct me, because I often, I can sometimes forget what pronunciations are English and what are American. Anyway, I'm just painting the picture, because Cecil Court is a really atmospheric little street. And books have been sold there for hundreds of years. So these places have been bookshops for hundreds of years. And he had this little bookshop sort of hole in the wall. And he had wild white grey hair and very striking green eyes. This is mostly what I remember of him. He was quite idiosyncratic and not old, right? So he was prematurely grey. Just, again, painting the whole scene. And on the occasion that I'd meet with him at the bookshop or I'd be going to get something and say hello, all was well. But in the sort of backstage of rehearsal or the breakout room or in Tesco's or Sainsbury's, I'd run into him afterwards and we'd be shopping. Whenever his girlfriend was nearby, and so this is all very interesting psychologically, he would come on to me. I don't remember exactly what he'd say, but he'd say something quite sexual or whatever it was. And I would say, oh God, shut up. You know, how do you handle that? I'll have to think about how I'd handle it now. Again, because of my vibe, it's really unlikely to happen. And because of my age, right? And I think it's interesting how these things happen when you're young and you're not really clear on how to handle it. You just feel really embarrassed. And he'd say, oh, you love it. I know you love it. And I'd say, no, I don't. You're driving me around the twist. Something to that level. And I think he actually thought that was flirtation. And that was one of the things that was so frustrating to me, was that just me even coming back at him seemed to feed this thing. And then, of course, it was really awkward because I'm working with his partner who's hired me and he's doing this stuff on the side. So this is a very typical experience of that time, and at least I can say that I think we've come a really long way in terms of awareness, and that is the first step. But so I remember very little about the play. I remember walking across the Heath and loving that I could walk to work, and I remember this side experience. So I'll be here every Wednesday and on IG every Monday at 1 p.m. PT. And I will alternate between a deep dive that is more focused on thoughts of the moment and various theatre anecdotes, some of which are Me Too moments. Thank you.